Hey guys, it is July 12th, and it's about almost 6:40 in the evening. Still nice and warm outside, and I'm going to do take two of something that I tried to do the other day, which is an extraction on this outside most frame. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a while now, but I've been waiting for these guys to completely finish and cap off the wax. So I've looked inside the hive, done an inspection on the inside, and it's about, I'm going to call it 90% complete. You see some cells down here at the bottom that are still a little bit open. They're working on closing the capping, but they haven't actually done it yet. But everything else is completely done. The other exception, as I pull the back off here, is I don't know why, but they don't like filling these last little cells in here. I mean, this thing has been completed for a while. I've drained all of these hives, or all of these frames, at least once, except for this last one. And I've actually drained these two twice, and they're already backfilling. You can see these were done about a week ago. They're already backfilling. This one's full. I could probably drain it today too, and I may. So before I do this, just one other kind of talking through how things have been going. I think I'm up to 5 gallons of honey that have been taken off this season. The bees are still out foraging and bringing in, from what I can tell, plenty of resources. I did an inspection on the inside of the hive maybe last weekend, and everybody was happy and good to go. The queen's laying lots of eggs. There's good brood pattern, plenty of nectar and resources and pollen inside for the season. We've had so much rain that the bees seem really happy with finding resources right now, which has been really great. I wish there was smell-o-vision, but one of my favorite things about coming out here is just the smell of a hive is just yummy. Like, no other word for it. It just smells really great. It's like this, you can smell the fresh wax and the honey and all of it together, and it's all really great. So with that, I am going to go ahead and pull this off, set it to the side, pull the top out, set it to the side, I'll pull that little cap out, and I'm going to pull this jar over here and make room so that it comes directly to there. We've got where'd the drain nozzle go? There it is. Make sure that's nice and clean. Yep. I keep reusing the same nozzle. The Flow Hive comes with one for each frame, but the bees are just so good at cleaning them that I let them. Over here I've got my little little rod. Just going to use that. And I'm just going to do part of the way in here. And one of the things I've really been dying to see is how the frame reacts. Now, I'm going to make a couple assumptions here, so I'm going to talk about it before I do it. But when I turn these, the cells themselves split. If you've done any research on the Flow Hive, you'll know how this works, but the frames shift up and it makes room for the honey to flow down into this little tube, but I've never been able to do the window, so I can't actually see it. These ones that are open at the bottom, I am going to assume that they are going to spill a little bit down into the hive. I do have a screened bottom on this bottom board down here, so you can pull these out and check and see if you've got any mites or what's going on. But the honey will actually, if there's any spillage, it will pool down there, and the bees can go down there and recollect it as well, so it's not lost. But I think some of those are going to split and maybe have some spillage, but the majority of it, I'm hoping, is going to drain straight into my little jar here, and we will see. But I started this hive back in February of 2018. It's currently July 12th, and I've been able to harvest off of every frame in here, and 2 of them I've been able to harvest twice, but I, for whatever reason, have not been able to harvest this one frame. So with that said, I'm going to turn the key and we're going to see how this works. Boom. Alright, so you can see the ones that were shifted. Doesn't seem to create any issues within the hive. Whoa. But we've got honey drainage. Boom. Going in there. This is definitely darker honey than the last ones. Ooh, that is completely different. I love it. I love it when it tastes different. Each frame has been different. This one doesn't have that citrusy flavor that some of the other ones had. It's a lot more caramelly. Oh, we do have some down on the bottom that has some spillage. The bees are already on it, and they're got their tongues in there just kind of wicking away. I don't know if you can see it. That's cool. So this is also one of the main reasons I wanted to be able to do this particular extraction, was I wanted to see how the bees were affected. There's a lot of online beekeepers that are either commercial beekeepers or professional beekeepers that have their own little opinions about the Flow Hive. But from what I can tell, none of them own one, and all of it's outside opinion. And so my hope is that with doing this, that I'm able to show not only does it not harm the bees or harm the hive, but that it's a relatively non-invasive process for harvesting. I'm inching the flow slowing down, so I'm inching the bar further in, and we're going to do the next little section here. Alright. So I don't see any surface disruption at all. That's interesting. And the flow is picking back up a little bit. I can see where it's buckled a little bit, but just a little bit. Now you can definitely see some of that honey spilling out on the bottom. Not a lot, but a little bit. And the bees are going around collecting. Okay. Going a little further in. Boom. We're relatively far in now. So you can see the wax capping now just looks hollow. You don't see the honey underneath it like you did before. and it's all collecting here. Get another taste and see if it's any different. It's also really cool that it's warm still. About 100 and something like 98 to 100 degrees today. So it's still pretty warm inside the hive, and it's flowing really well. So, I mean, you see the cells are split. The inside of this is split right now. There's a few of them that are open from that split, but the vast majority held their integrity. So the surface, the bees are walking around. If there's spilt honey, they're definitely going around and collecting it. But as far as the bees walking around on the hive, you know, they're not freaking out. There's no bees were harmed in the making of this video. The open honey, they're definitely reacting to, and they're eating it up. And once I finish draining this off, I'll go back and give them an area to reconstitute and collect it. All right, I'm putting the bar all the way in. It's as far in as it goes. So this will be the last little section here. Let's see if we can see it. I did it. I didn't see anything. Nobody's freaking out. Let's go over here and see if we see the flow pick up. Yep, there's the flow increase. Got a little fly over here. But overall, like, no, the bees aren't, I mean, on the front, they're still coming and going. There's no swarm issues. There's nobody's freaking out. And then looking at the actual frames themselves, I mean, every single cell in this is now split right now. The frames are open. The bees are not freaking out. They're definitely going and collecting any of the honey that was spilt down here at the bottom. I don't know if you can see this, but you know, they're cleaning it up, but that's it. So those torn cells there, you can see that's where the split is. And once I put the rod back in and put the cells in their closed position, they will immediately go and start fixing all of that. So, you know, I don't see what the fuss is about. I definitely tend to my bees, so it's not like they're it's not a set and forget it thing, which is what I've seen most of the people, sorry, I'm moving the bar here, most of the people that have issues with the Flow Hive, that seems to be their concern, is that people are not keeping their bees. And in my case, that is definitely not the case. You know, it's not just a cheap and easy way to get honey or anything like that. Like, you have to take care of your bees. You have to do inspections. You have to make sure everything's working the way it's supposed to work. But other than that, it's just an easier and safer and healthier collection method, in my opinion. So I will say, yesterday was my wife and I's 13-year anniversary, so yay for us. We went out to a restaurant, really nice restaurant, and we got a little cheese tray. And in the cheese tray, they had some honey on there, and I tasted it. and I am apparently a honey snob now, officially. I'm closing, we're slowing down to next to nothing here. So I'm gonna go ahead and close off the cells. Boom, they are righted. Finishing the last little bit. They're righted. Okay, so all the cells are closed again. And most of that, oh, that's so cool. Most of that tearing that you saw before has reformed. Where you can't even see it now. So the bees have very little to do to repair and fix those little issues. Now they're gonna pull the capping off of all of this probably within a day or two. They're gonna pull the caps, and start over, and it'll be neat to see that process. But they do not have to rebuild up all that wax. So this is one of the other great things. It takes about what was it, 7 pounds of honey for 1 pound of wax, I think is the ratio. And so one of the other great things about a flow hive is that they don't have to rebuild all the wax. All they have to do is pull this capping, because they don't reuse the, well, I say that. I've been told they don't reuse the wax capping. This will be the first time that I'll get to experience myself. And we'll be able to watch it, and I'll definitely post videos and keep it up to date. But they don't reuse the wax capping, supposedly. So they will go and pull all of this wax capping, but all the other wax that's supporting the structure is still there. And so theoretically, we should be able to have them fill it back up within 30 days. That's the goal. But that's just a fully capped wax empty frame now on both sides, and the bees will go through and redo that. So to finish my little story, we went to the restaurant, and we got a little cheese tray and had honey, and I tasted the honey, and it immediately reminded me of like grocery store bottle bare honey. And I missed my honey from home because it tastes so distinctly different. It is so much more floral. It's lighter. It just has overall just a lot more complex flavor, and it tastes so good. I am officially a bias honey eater. And I do not appreciate formulaic, homogenized and boiled honey the way the grocery store typically has. I've become a huge fan of my honey. I use it in coffee now. I've completely replaced sugar in my coffee with honey. We do honey lattes. For dessert tonight, we made some croissants and did butter and honey. But it's just so good, and every frame has been unique and different in its own little way. It's been similar, like it's definitely just wildflower honey, if I had to put a definition on it. But some of it has a really citrusy flavor, some of it's kind of a caramely flavor. It's all great. And just to show you again, I keep using these jars over and over, but this is one frame. There's a 1 gallon jar, and it is half full. So we pretty consistently have gotten a ½ gallon per frame, which is awesome. I currently have a full gallon in the house right now that we haven't distributed yet. This will be another ½ gallon, and I'm probably going to go ahead and do that other frame because we're going to be taking a trip soon, and I probably won't be able to do it when that happens. But I wanted to share this and kind of give an update of how things were going. It's been a couple weeks since I've done an update, and just wanted to show this. I'll pause and maybe do the other one here in just a minute, but this is already 20 minutes. But I wanted to share and show how awesome and amazing this is. Our little one hive setup. Oh, and one other update just to kind of let you know from a progress standpoint. So typically the way the cycles work is you have the spring bounty of nectar and honey and things like that, and then occasionally between July and August there can be a dearth. We've had so much rain that hasn't been an issue, and in fact our whole neighborhood and area is chock full of flowers, so the bees have plenty and plenty of resources to bring back more. So we haven't had any issues with a scarcity right now, but I do want to make sure that they're able to build up for the winter. And I have more than enough honey for me and my friends and family and the people I've been kind of doling it out to. So with that said, I'm going to be adding probably next week, I think is my timeline, but I'm going to be adding a second brood box. I'm not going to be adding a second super yet. I've thought about adding on top of this a honey super that has a place where I can do comb extraction, because I do like honeycomb, and I've got some friends that have been rendering I've been rendering the wax, but some friends have been using the wax for different things. Oh yep, see, there's a little guy that's ripped off some of the cap wax. They're already in the process. I mean, like, I just finished, and they're already like, oh, they're empty, start over. So cool. So anyway, I'm gonna add a brood box. We're gonna do some checkerboarding from the bottom box and the new box, and give them a chance to build up, and want to make sure that there's lots and lots of room for winter, so that they've got a really strong hive to go through winter. And over winter, one of the things you do is you do take off the flow frames. So I want them to build up enough in their own personal stores, so that I'm not worried about them surviving over winter. This has been a really great queen and a great hive colony. And I mean, personality wise, I sit out here in a t-shirt and jeans every other day, and they're happy as can be. I still have been doing this since February, and cumulatively I've been stung 4 times, all of which have been my fault. I opened the hive during the rain one day, not rain, but it was like sprinkling, and the bees got freaked out and popped me once, and then laid my hand on top of the roof one day, and there was a bee there